Okay, so we've been talking about public works and roads and safer communities. We're going to switch gears because I want to talk about this photo. Now, hopefully you all recognize at least one person in this photo, right? Otherwise, you may be at the wrong seminar. This photo is important because it's representing a huge partnership that was announced between ESRI and Autodesk back in 2017. Our companies are collaborating better to help you, all of our users, do your best work, regardless of the platform that you need. And why are we doing this? These numbers, 9 billion, that is the number of expected people who will be living on our planet by the year 2040. 9 billion. That means that to support that many people, we need to build at least 1,000 new homes per day. That's pretty extensive, right? And beyond just buildings, what else would we need? Additional infrastructure, utilities, right? How are we going to support this many people in 20 short years? Well, the partnership with ESRI and Autodesk is key because we want to help, again, you, our users, do your best work. Why? Because we need to support 9 billion people in 20 years. So we're putting your data at the center, so when you're designing, building, planning, and operating your assets, infrastructure, and more, you can do that efficiently and effectively. We're doing that, again, because we're putting your data at the center. If you're using, well, what does that look like? If you're using AutoCAD, but you need access to GIS, don't share a shapefile. You don't need to share a shapefile, but you can be provided access to the ArcGIS Online or the portal information within AutoCAD. It's a game changer. If people are working in GIS technology, but they need access to AutoCAD information, you can integrate with that information seamlessly. The point of why we're doing this, once again, it shouldn't matter the platform that you choose to use to do your work. The point is that you have access to the information that you need to get the job done. Now, enough with that. I want to see Nicole show us what this looks like in AutoCAD.
So I'm here in AutoCAD 2020, and just a quick disclaimer that I am not a trained engineer either in structural or civil engineering. I think I took enough math and physics to be, but I don't work in that field. So I'm going to show you very, very basic editing workflows that an engineer might do in AutoCAD. And you'll have to imagine that they would be doing this with a much greater level of detail. But for today's purposes, I'm going to keep it pretty easy, if that's okay with you guys. So I've installed the ArcGIS for AutoCAD plugin, which is free. And this opens up the whole world of ArcGIS Online to me within AutoCAD. Let me show you what I mean. I'm signed in up here to my ArcGIS Online organization. And I could even switch between it and a portal organization if I so chose. Let me give it a quick refresh.
Imagine, if you will, that there are countless layers. There you go.
We're getting some.
And I do want to mention, again, you're seeing her ArcGIS Online content within AutoCAD.
And there it is now. So that's not only my content and my groups and my favorites, but also anything in the Living Atlas. And that's all because I'm authenticated with my username in my ArcGIS Online org. So what I'd like to do is add an ortho photo as a base map and also some traffic markings. And this ortho photo was procured by the city of Cambridge, Massachusetts. Likely maybe one of our vendors flew it for them, so it's very high resolution, and it makes for a great base map when we're investigating something like traffic markings. Now, I've worked in a land records office and had a lot of back and forth with our engineering department, and I remember getting data like this as a zipped up shapefile on a flash drive and running between the 9th and 10th floors to exchange our data. Now I'm viewing this data from ArcGIS Online right in AutoCAD, and this is really a game changer. And ordinarily, I would have had to ask an engineer, can you give me a DWG so I can transform it? And there would have been a lot of steps there. So let's talk about an editing workflow. I'm going to go back to ArcGIS Online and add some sewer infrastructure data to my AutoCAD window. And while that's drawing, I'll just mention quickly again that we don't want to persuade engineers to work in a platform that they're not comfortable with. Their home is in AutoCAD, and we want to encourage them to stay there, but to just utilize this partnership and this add-in so that they can leverage the wealth of data that's provided perhaps by their GIS department. So I'll zoom out. You've seen these green lines and blue dots render. I'll quickly turn off the traffic markings so that we can focus now on the street infrastructure instead. And zooming out actually to this area, I'm noticing that there needs to be a new sewer lateral put in, or new main line, and so I'm going to draw that in by editing that particular layer. This is the laterals that I'm going to add. So this is the part where you pretend that I'm being highly accurate. I'd put that in. Oh, look, they're connected now. How great. And in the ArcGIS add-in, I can use some of the tools that a GIS person would be familiar with, like identify features. So clicking on that new line that I drew, try that again. I can see all of the attributes of the data. So this data is coming from a hosted feature layer, and that means that all of the domains or pick lists are going to persist through this data. So I can choose that the diameter was, let's say, 42 inches, and I can choose that the material was, let's say, this word, and apply the edits. Now, this could be done by an engineer, and they're updating the authoritative GIS information, keeping those attributes synced, but only when they so choose. So when they pick synchronize all, this is a manual process. And that's intentional. We know that often engineers are scoping out a new project. They don't want to overwrite authoritative data until it's final. But this does save the pass back and forth, running from the 9th to 10th floor with the flash drive process, because now once this construction has been finished, the engineer can enter it, him or herself, and that's really useful. Now, again, all this particular data is being written to a feature layer, so I'd like to show you that same data in ArcGIS Online. When I refresh the map, I'll see the new sewer lateral, and now this map can be shared across any of our mobile applications, and kind of like the one that Sarah has going on right now.
Well, my work continues today. Nicole gave me another task. In this case, I'm out in the field and I'm using Collector for ArcGIS because I need to collect a new location for a new manhole. So what you're seeing here is my map on Collector, and when I zoom in to refresh my map, we should see that new line work that Nicole just created. So while this may not seem as exciting as confetti coming down from the ceilings, what's happening behind the scenes is really the most important part. What you're seeing is that seamless integration between CAD data and GIS data, whether it's an AutoCAD, an ArcGIS Online map, or in this case, on a mobile device. If I interact with that line, I should also see the details that she added previously, such as the polyethylene type and the 42-inch diameter, as you can see here. So all the information has come across, that's great. But now let's get to my job. I'm going to add a manhole point. I'm going to have it offset just so we can all see it better. And I will have multiple options here to include different details. In the interest of time, I won't include all of the details, but let's make sure I list the excellent condition of the manhole because it's brand new. I also want to make sure that I mention that the cover type is a 42-inch diameter. And at the top, I would like to call your attention to attachments. Don't worry, I won't take more photos of you, but I want to point out you can also attach a video or attach an audio recording. So think of your workflows that you currently have, how helpful those other options would be. When I'm ready to submit, I will do so that Nicole can see it back in the office.
Don't worry, we don't save those photos anyway. Yeah. So I'm refreshing my map, and I see that the manhole Sarah added has indeed been added, And just identifying it, I see this lovely pop-up in Map Viewer Beta. I see all of the different attributes about it, and this is a really great way to stop sharing shapefiles between engineering, between GIS. You can now read BIM and Revit data natively in Pro. You can be reading feature layers in AutoCAD. The partnership exists. And while this add-in is not brand new this year, the ability to connect to your ArcGIS Online organization is your take-home point today. This is the biggest feature of the add-in that we want you to remember. And if you work with engineers or if you are an engineer, go download this plugin and try it as soon as you get a chance.
And we really can't say it enough. Stop sharing shapefiles, right? There's a better way. We wanted to highlight the versions and the product types that we are demonstrating during this section. And as the last bullet point says, we always encourage you to reach out to your ESRI account team when you have additional questions about these or any other workflows.